Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for a full freaking speed build. What? Yeah, a full speed build. I've been doing apartment renovations for like 3 months. I think I quite literally, I did a townhouse collab with Griffey and Rachel Ped, my dear friends, i.e. Rachel and Tanya. I did that recently. However, I don't count that as a full build. I made the shells myself and then I was working off a shell, right? So it didn't feel like I was just going in the game and building what I wanted to build. I wanted to do just like a family home. I haven't done one in so freaking long. And I looked back at my videos. I don't think I've done one for about 3 months now. I think it was 3 months, if not more. So that's unacceptable. It's insane behavior, in my personal opinion. And I decided, you know what, I need to build something. And is it something that has a wildly unique shape that's gonna like blow your mind? Absolutely not. It's tons of squares and rectangles. Yes, it is. But I really, really like this home and I hope you'll enjoy it too. At the time of me recording this, it is a beautiful sunny day where I am. I have my coffee. Yes, my little nails clinking on my coffee. This is my afternoon coffee, mind you. I don't know if I've talked about this recently in a build or a voiceover or something like that, but me and my ADHD, look, we are besties and then we are enemies because let me just say, the reason I have to drink so much caffeine is because my dopamine levels are naturally garbage. And therefore having 2 espressos a day is what keeps me at the normal level that everybody else is at. Isn't that fun? Also, my ADHD is why I have been in such weird burnout lately. Now, I'm just going to be real with everybody. All right. I know I'm like, I don't know, I'm elevating my speech and getting all animated, but real talk for a second. I wrote a book. Okay. I wrote a book. I have it in a pinned comment in almost every video since I have published it. And I was a creative writing major back in college. I never did anything with it. 12 years later, I was like, can I write a book? I don't know. Let's see if I can. And then I went ahead and I wrote 3 books I'll say a short amount of time. At least in my opinion, it was a short amount of time. I burned myself out so badly, but I was also doing it because I was in the midst of burnout from The Sims. I had COVID and the flu over the holidays. It took me like 3 or 4 months to get back even in the headspace, even in the physical, like I wasn't physically able to sit at the computer and do too much. And by the time I did, it's like I'd forgotten how to build. I'd forgotten how to build. I forgot where everything was in the catalog. I was behind on Sims news. I just felt very disconnected from everything. And then I was also writing like a mad woman. I mean, I was using any spare moment I had to write. And it took a lot out of me. Like I neglected a lot, including myself, to be frank. I'm very proud of the work that I've done. But what I'm trying to say is that the reason as to why I haven't built a home like this in so long, and the reason why I was doing Let's Plays is because I was just in this storytelling headspace for the past like 6 to 8 months, maybe. Well, let me see. November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah. So we got like 6, 7, 8, 9, not like 8, 9 months. I've just been in this storytelling headspace, and every time I went to actually create a build, I couldn't do it. I honestly couldn't do it, and I almost gave up on this one too. I was so close. I was so close to giving up. But you know what I did? Is I decided, you know what? I'm just going to go into this and do whatever feels right. Like that's my goal. I'm not going to go in with any plan per se. I'm just going to build whatever I want to build. And it sounds odd because that's usually how I approach most builds. I don't go in with like a solid plan, but it was really important here because I was just disliking everything that I tried to build, and I was getting in my own head. I was in my own way, and I'm experiencing horrific writer's block right now. But it seems as though the block with The Sims is no longer because I made this build and I'm super proud of it. So there's a trade-off. This also ties back to what I was mentioning about the ADHD. Like everything comes in cyclical hyperfixations. And it's really, really hard. So in sum, I'm going to encourage us all to take care of our mental health. It's very important. Very, very important. It can be really, really hard to do. And we might feel like we don't know how to do it, but it's really important. I'm still learning how to do it myself. I really am. I push myself to my limits constantly and I burn myself out. And then I sit in burnout, just angry at myself that I can't produce what I want to produce. Like right now, my writer's block, I can't string a sentence together. I can't even think of a story. I can't think of scenes. I can't think of words to actually string together at all. I can't. I have nothing. I've tried so hard. I have written almost a full book another book. Like I wrote almost an entire 4th book, but I'm not kidding when I say 2/3 of those words are trash. Like they just are. They're going to go in my archive. They mean nothing. They don't tie together. Everything's awful. And I was so frustrated with myself. And then when I came into this build, I didn't really know what I wanted to do and I was getting more frustrated. And I just feel like I didn't have any creative outlet. I'm also burnt out from reading right now. Real talk, I just am. I'm burnt out from reading. I've been reading the same genre for maybe a year now straight. And granted, I have read a couple of books in the past few weeks. I'm just so burnt out from all of it because when I read now, it makes me think of writing. And I can't write, so I jump into The Sims and then I'm like, can I build something? And when I hit a block with trying to build something, I was just pissed. And then I made this build. This is what I'm trying to get to. I made this build. I'm so happy with it. I hope you all love it as much as I do. Now I went for, you saw on the exterior, I have done that dark blue siding with these windows from Growing Together a handful of times. I think I did it for the house in my Growing Together LP. I did it for one of these huge Craftsman homes with the new pack. Like when it came out, I made a huge home for, I think, like 3 generations, 8 Sims or something with the same color scheme. I just love it. The dark blue is so calming to me and I love how it's in the trim of the windows too that match. I just think it's so pretty. So I tried to carry in the blues on the interior as well. And then I went with a lot of orangey, kind of manila wood tones. I love it. It's probably my favorite wood tone. There's a lot of objects from Cats and Dogs that have that wood tone, and then these base game countertops and cabinets, this wood tone is like one of my absolute favorite things. I love it. I don't know what it is. I usually go towards darker wood tones, but this one, if I'm going to go light, it's going to be this. I adore it. It matches the flooring. I love kind of this softer dark blue of the appliances from the Country Kitchen kit as well. And then with this base game backsplash, it worked out perfectly. I had gone for that really, I can't say bright, but I think the contrast of the white and the blue makes it really pop, that tile that I had on the floor. I realize I really don't use tiles in my kitchens that much. It looks almost too sterile for me, so I don't enjoy doing it. But I do bring that tile back and I put it in the bathrooms. So I use it in all of the bathrooms and I think it looks really, really nice. But the kitchen, the dining space is pretty much done and now we're working on the entryway. Can I just say I like the stair placement in this house? I don't know why. Actually, no, I do know why. Because my dear friend Rachel Ped, she said on one of her recent builds, she's like, you know what? Someone commented and said, Rachel, you don't always have to put the stairs like right near the front door. And she's like, yeah, you know what? I don't. And then she proceeded to put them kind of right near the front door. I had that in mind as I was placing the stairs here. And I'm like, but they're not right next to the front door. They're off in the corner. Look at me. I did something different. I was really proud of myself. And I like this bigger entryway. I just think it worked out really nicely. I've got like a side table there. I also imagined, this is embarrassing now. I added like the dog treats and the little leash thing. And then I didn't put a dog bowl or like a dog bed or anything. So I was kind of building this with an animal in mind and I didn't put everything required for an animal. So just be mindful of that if you download this. Just FYI, because I clearly was not thinking through this fully. Also, if you're wondering, I did size that like leash thing down because why is it so freaking big from Cats and Dogs? Do you know what I mean? It's just, it's not necessary. And now we're moving on to the living room. I love this living room. I was a little bit nervous because I wasn't sure how I was going to lay everything out. But let me just say, first and foremost, using this base game couch, chef's kiss. I love this couch. And I was so happy that the way that I set up the archways, one into the dining and kitchen and then one into the entryway, gave me the perfect spot for this fireplace. Like it worked out so well. And then what I was able to do is I put like a little rocking chair in the corner over here. I think there's a chess table on the other side of the room. And behind the couch, I add the Don't Wake the Llama table or the card table. It depends on what game you set up. I think if the Don't Wake the Llama pieces aren't on the table, I think by default it's a card table, but you can set whatever game you want. I think with Growing Together, you can set it as the puzzle or symbols as well. So I thought that was kind of fun. It's just another activity. And I like using, not specifically that table, but like that activity. But I usually think about it for kids because I feel like they'd be playing Don't Wake the Llama more than adults. But that's not necessarily fair because Don't Wake the Llama is basically Jenga. And I love Jenga. Great game. Now, I was having a nightmare of a time trying to get that bookcase to work in the corner. The modular furniture for me recently just like has not been, it just hasn't been working. I don't know how else to say it, but I ended up getting rid of that anyway. I just didn't like it. I think I very subtly size down the bookcase from Cats and Dogs. Now, when I size things down, sometimes I use the shift bracket key on my keyboard because I play on PC, but other times I use the tool mod. You'll see me whip it out every now and then. And sometimes I just size things down just a little tiny bit. So the bookcase I end up choosing, like I said, is the Cats and Dogs one. I don't even show you all, but I size it down to like 0.8. So it's just a little bit smaller than the 1 scale, which is the default size of an object, if that helps at all. Don't ask me to do a tutorial on tool mod. I can't do it. I can show you very basic things, but the explanation would be horrendous. Anyway, we're moving on to the bathroom downstairs. Now, I don't even think I mentioned this is a 2-bathroom, 2-bedroom house. I think what you could do, you could finagle the floor plan upstairs to get an additional bedroom. It would make all of the bedrooms kind of small. You could do it if you wanted to, but I just wanted to make it a 2-bedroom house. It just worked for me. Now, I have a very specific family in mind for this build that I have not revealed, and I shall not reveal, because it's going to be a little bit of a surprise down the line. Anyway, don't guess in the comments. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't plant ideas in anybody's head. Just think about it yourself, okay? But I only made it a 2-bedroom, and I was thinking that it was for 2 parents and their child. And that was pretty much it. I wanted to originally make like a nursery, a kid's room, and a teen room, but I really didn't have the space that I thought I had upstairs. And even before we go upstairs, now that I finished the laundry room and the bathroom, we work on this little screened-in porch. I've wanted to do this, and I think I only did it in one other build, and that was months and months and months ago. I've wanted to do this for so long, and I love this screened-in porch so much. It's like a 3-season porch, right? That's kind of the idea. It's not a 4-season because it's not temperature controlled, so I think it's a 3-season. Is that technically what it would be called? I think so. I don't know. But we've got 2 benches out here, a bar, which I sized down ever so slightly. It will make it look a little bit odd when your Sims place the finished drinks on that little top lip of the bar, but I don't care because I just wanted it to fit. But what I do, okay, this is really fun. I take the little lights from the little camper's kit, and I use the tool mod. You can use just the Control 9 key if you wanted to, but I wanted them to all be the exact same height, and it was just faster to do it this way. But I used these little tiny fairy lights, and I string them up around the entire porch here. They don't give off a ton of light at night, but it's just enough to make it a very comfortable, cozy setting. I loved it. I loved it so much. It might sound odd. I was very proud of myself for thinking about doing that because it seemed like such a simple thing, but I absolutely adored it. I was thinking about using the ones from the toddler stuff pack, but they've got the pole, right? So this was the perfect option to use here. And I also put some plants. I think I've got, what else do I put out here? I think that's it. I don't even think I put anything on the wall above the bar. I think I add an outdoor speaker. It's not technically an outdoor speaker, but it's the speaker that we got with the Party Essentials kit, which I've actually used more than I thought I would ever use just in game, whether or not it's a build or gameplay. I've oddly used that pack a lot more than I thought I would. But I add a speaker because this is definitely a spot to entertain, right? If they have like family and friends over, they can go hang out there in the summer, the spring, or the fall. Just probably not in the winter. And then we move on to the backyard, which is a little bit, it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite, but I did like it. I feel like I suck, and I don't care how that sounds. I suck at yard spaces. I just do. I don't feel like I'm very good with yard spaces. So this was really difficult for me. I was originally thinking of just having a fire pit out here, but then I thought, well, if they're entertaining more and they've got kind of that back porch, I wanted an outside dining space. And I thought of adding another bar and this grill from the Desert Luxe kit against the garage. And then I was like, no, I hate that. That doesn't look right. Also, I just suppressed a hiccup. Don't judge me. I'm still drinking my coffee. Let me just say I had to take a break in between little snippets of this voiceover. My coffee is now very cold, but the espresso be espressin' is hitting me hard, and I love it here. Anyway, I do add this picnic table with the umbrella, but I add a smaller grill that seems to fit this build a little bit better. And I get rid of those flower boxes, and I add another shrub there. I wanted this to be kind of a wild backyard aside from just the pebbled areas. Does that make sense? And then we furnished the garage, which I've been doing garages more and more. I did it in the townhouse recently, and now I did it here because I just felt it was necessary. We add one of these metal shelves with just some storage stuff. One of these like gardening shelf things. Like, all of this is non-functional, sadly, especially that Greenhouse Haven thing, which I wish was functional. But then I add some workout equipment. It's one of my favorite things to add into garages. Either that or I make like a band setup. I haven't done it in so long, but I add a bunch of things that are just like faux storage options. I also added a bike, a soccer ball, and then there's a TV in here, as well as, I want to say I never use this item. It's the stereo that is in the shape of guitar amps from, I want to say, the Mosquito stuff pack. Never used that in my freaking life. Loved using that there. And then we move on to the second story of this home, where again, there's the 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. I did really like the upstairs. Now, I think the only way that you can really finagle the floor plan though is perhaps adjusting the windows towards the back of the house, because the windows are set in the front like solely for looks. But if you moved the ones around in the back, that's how you could probably finagle getting an additional bedroom in there somewhere. Because the big restriction was where I had placed the windows and how I could kind of cut the rooms, if that makes sense to you, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. But the primary bedroom is a very decent size. It's very plainly decorated. You could, of course, add more to that bedroom if you wanted to. And the kids' room, it's kind of a long room, and there's only a couple of activities. Now, I didn't add any kid activities to the living spaces or outside, and it's because I'm going to be taking this build and adjusting it for my own needs at some point. And sometimes I choose to do that so you all can make adjustments with greater ease as well. I almost left the second bedroom empty, or I was going to turn it into a very plainly decorated office just so you all could like strip it back and turn it into whatever you wanted to turn it into. And I didn't add kid items everywhere just so you could add what you felt would be necessary for your own gameplay. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I go all out and I'm just like, no, this is for a very specific family and they have these interests and all of these items are going to be here. But I kind of pulled back a little bit for this one and it felt kind of good. I don't know why, it just did. But this is going to be the kids' room. I go with a pink, purple, and yellow color scheme, which was interesting. It was a choice. I don't dislike my choice, but it was interesting. It's not, I'm not going to say it's my favorite kids' room by any means, but this is really me kind of getting back into the swing of things as well. And kids' rooms, I don't know if it's where I shine. I don't know if I'm the one that can really say that. I like kids' rooms because you can go nuts with them if you want to. But I did like this kids' room. Not my favorite, but I enjoyed it. I think it was just difficult for me to match or mismatch all these different patterns and stuff, but there is a dresser, a desk. I think we've got a couple of toys. Again, nothing too specific to hobbies, so like no creativity table or chemistry station. So if you want to add those things, you absolutely can. And you might even have space to add a treehouse in the backyard if you wanted to make some adjustments to that outdoor space behind the garage. That's an idea. I didn't even think about that until right now. But we are getting closer to the end of the build, so I hope you all enjoyed this one. I can't wait to hear your thoughts, and I hope that you are taking care of your mental health. It's very important. We cannot show up for ourselves and the people we care about if we don't put ourselves first sometimes. So do with that what you will, carry it with you, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.
You and me, I will always dream about how it will be to feel your arms around me, yeah, let it sink in, yeah, I just let it sink in. You and me, wonder how it feels to have you cheek to cheek, but this is not reality, or let it sink in, yeah, I just let it sink in. Always changing all the scenery, oh, why I'm living in this fantasy, don't know, let it sink in, yeah, I just let it sink in. In a dream, you said you wanna buy me pretty little things, take me around the world, nah, nah, let it sink in, yeah, I just let it sink in. just sweet fantasy. But I can stay like this forever.